Hi guys, and welcome to Escape Wheel Watch Reviews. My name is Steve, and today we're going to be reviewing the Baltany model number S4095. I received this watch for free. I don't have to send the watch back, but you guys know the deal by now. No matter how I get a watch in for review on this channel, you're always going to get my honest opinion every single time. And if by the end of this review you want to pick one of these up, I'm going to be leaving an affiliate link down in the video description. So if you use that link, you don't pay any extra. It just earns me a little bit of commission and helps keep things running. So thank you guys so much for the continued support. I wouldn't be here without you guys. The price I am seeing is $226 US. That is US pricing with the US tariff. So be sure to check out the price for yourself. Baltany, they also do participate in the sales. So there will be deals to be had on this watch if we aren't currently in a sale. The watch comes in 4 different colorways that you can see here. Steel and two-tone are available. I think they all look pretty darn good. The watch case is made of 316L stainless steel. It has a sapphire crystal with anti-reflective coating, screw-down crown, screw-down caseback, 100 meters of claimed water resistance, and the watch is powered by the Seiko NH35 automatic movement. So this could be the best, or maybe even the only, vintage oyster perpetual date homage out there. I'm no Rolex expert, not even in the slightest, especially when it comes to all the different references, but I believe this is a reference to the 1500. Either way, I think it looks fantastic, so let's get into the review to see if it is fantastic. But before we do a quick wrist check today. Wearing the Watch Dives WD0006. Really love this watch, and I owe you guys a review on this one. All right, let's get into dimensions. I got a case diameter of 36 millimeters, case thickness of 11.5 millimeters, got a standard 20 millimeter lug width, lug tip to lug tip of 43.1 millimeters. And on the steel bracelet sized up for my wrist, it weighs 126 grams. So I really think this is the perfect vintage size. The 20 millimeter lugs kind of beef it up a little bit, but the smaller proportions just kind of keep that vintage appeal. And honestly, with this dial, it does kind of feel like a vintage piece. It's fantastic. Really, really nicely done from Baltany. I think the proportions on it are excellent. The bezel is nice and slim as well. And I mean, it just wears great. I mean, it's a small, lightweight watch, and yeah, it just kind of vanishes when it's on my wrist. So I do like the way it wears, even though I'm not a huge fan of 36 millimeter watches. I do like this one for some reason. So yeah, I'm gonna go outside right now and throw it on my wrist for you. And here we are on my 7.5 inch wrist, and it does wear small, but man, I think the vintage look of this watch just kind of pulls it off, and the 20 millimeter lugs helps beef it up just a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it just looks really, really good. Love the silver dial on this watch and the minimal indices. I think it looks fantastic. Air coating doing a nice job as well. And here we are out in some direct sunlight. There you can see nice strong sunburst on the silver dial. I think it looks absolutely fantastic. And again, air coating doing a nice job keeping the dial nice and clear. But yeah, I mean, it just looks really, really good. And here we are on a dark blue leather strap. This is one from Vario. Really nice strap. I think the blue and the silver look really good together. And here we are on a black leather strap, just a simple leather strap, which I think looks pretty classy on this watch. And lastly, here we are on a dark brown vintage leather. This is one from Bracelet. Just so happened to have a watch in that is using this strap, a nice vintage brown. I think it looks really good. I'm not going to throw this on any pass-through straps or anything like that because I don't think they look good on this watch. But yeah, I think if you throw a nice kind of vintage leather style strap at this thing, it's going to look good. All right, let's go back inside. Let's go back to this review. All right, so let's talk about the case finishing. So case finishing is a mixture of brushing and polishing. So we do have a high polished bezel, as you can see there. Again, I think the proportions on this bezel are just perfect. They nailed it. It's really nice and slim. Yeah, just sometimes you can get these and they just kind of look fat and ugly. This one just looks perfect in my opinion. You have that vintage brushing on the tops of the lugs, kind of an angular brushing or circular brushing. Again, a little bit more coarse than modern brushing, but they're going after that vintage look, and I think they did a very nice job. Flipping it to the case sides here, we do have kind of a rounded case side here. It's not a flat slab side, so there's a little bit of distortion in the reflections there, but the polishing is very nicely done. As you can see there's no waviness or anything like that. We have a 6.4 millimeter signed screw down crown with the Baltany B there. Plenty of grip on it. I think it might be just a little, I don't even want to say oversized, but yeah, it could be just a hair smaller maybe. I don't know. But I do like the crown. I think it works great. We'll talk about it here in a little bit. But the case itself, very nicely done. Those transitions are nice and crisp, as you can see there. There's really no bleed over when it comes to the brushing. So yeah, really happy with that. Flipping it over to the case back here. In typical Baltany fashion, there's no signage on the case back here. We have our Rolex style case back, which I'm not a huge fan of. So yeah, I wish they would just use a regular case back on this, but this is kind of what we've come to expect. As far as the case sharpness goes, this bottom edge here, it's been nicely rounded off. I don't feel any sharp corners like sometimes these ones here. These can get a little bit sharp, and they're really not on this model. So yeah, I do like the case on it. I think it's executed very well. The proportions are nice. It's not too thick or anything like that. It's a very flat case, as we're come to expect from a watch like this. But yeah, really actually quite happy with the case finishing on this watch. It is really nicely done. All right, so let's talk about the crystal. We'll test it for sapphire. It is positive for sapphire, as is the Cyclops. So we do have a flat sapphire crystal and a sapphire Cyclops there with some blue anti-reflective coating. The crystal has clear anti-reflective coating and plenty of it. Again, Baltany just puts out very nice crystals, and this is no different. So yeah, really happy with that. You can see the crystal does sit up above the bezel just a little bit there with a nice chamfer. But yeah, it's a very good crystal. Very happy with it. There's really not a whole lot else to say about it. It's a good one. All right, so let's talk about the dial on the watch. So I chose this silver sunburst. I think it looks fantastic. I'm not a huge two-tone fan, so they do offer those for those that like them, and they do look pretty good, but this is just kind of a classic style for me, and I really, really like it here. We have the applied Baltany B logo there at the 12 o'clock, single batons at all the other hour markers. We do have little bits of lume there at the end of them there, but otherwise they're just very simple. They do have some faceting going on them, so they do play with the light pretty nicely, and they're all aligned nicely as well. Printed minute track around the outside, printed Baltany text there below the B, and automatic 100 meters down there at the 6 o'clock, and a nice kind of vintage font there. The handset that they use, they're nicely done, good size, nice and bold. I think they look good. They do have a little bit of faux patina on them, as you can see there. It helps with the legibility a little bit. Yeah, the handset, very simple but nicely executed. There's no fingerprints or anything like that on the hands. There's no fluff under the dial that I could see. It all looks very nice. We do have a chamfered date window here at the 3 o'clock. Really nicely magnified by that Cyclops. I would say it's probably more than 2.5x, but I think it looks very good. It's not too big, which I have seen from time to time, and it is pretty nicely centered in there as well. So yeah, I just think the dial on this watch is very nicely done. And then you can also see, I forgot to mention, the rehaut. It is engraved. So we have the B at the 12 o'clock, and I believe at 3, 6, and 9 as well, and then Baltany in between there. Nicely done. It's a pretty subtle thing, something that I didn't notice right away, but thought I would point it out to you guys. The rehaut is pretty thin on this watch, especially for an NH35, so that's pretty impressive. But I mean, as a overall package, as the dial is very nicely executed. There is some lume on it, so I'm going to pop up a lume shot here against a couple other watches in the collection, and there is lume on it, and it does okay. It is faux patina, so it's not the best lume, and there's just not a whole lot of lume. It does have kind of that vintage setup, and yeah, the lume is just not impressive, but it is there. All right, so let's talk about the movement inside. So the movement inside is the Seiko NH35 automatic movement. 21,600 beats per hour, hacks hand winds, has a bidirectional winding rotor, so it's not noisy or anything like that. They're accurate, they're reliable, they do everything you need them to do, and they're perfect in a watch like this. As long as you can keep the thickness down, which Baltany did, there's really no negatives to this movement. So yeah, I am very happy with it. Here's how this one has been running, and again, you can't complain with that. I mean, there's a little bit of a beat error there, but 0 seconds per day. Yeah, really, really happy with that and impressed with that. I think Baltany is regulating these watches. But yeah, very happy with the movement. The signed screw down crown, 6.4 millimeters, like I mentioned before. yeah, I mean, it just works as expected. Everything seems to function fine. There is no pop out on this one, sadly. The first position is your hand winding. The second position changes your date. Third position is your time setting, jumps or hacks the movement there. And then the crown feels nice and solid. There's no wobble to this thing at all. I don't want to change the date because I am going to put this watch on right after this review, and it is the 27th today. But yeah, everything functions as you would expect it to. You push it in, start screwing down the crown. It is a crown where while you're screwing it in, you're winding the movement. So just something to note. But yeah, really smooth screw in, screw out action. No issues with the movement, no issues with the crown. It's really nicely done. All right, so let's talk about the bracelet. So we have our typical 3-link style of bracelet: solid links, solid end links, female pivot end links. The bracelet is 20 millimeters and it tapers down to 16 millimeters at the clasp. We do have screws for sizing. I removed 2 links for my 7.5-inch wrist, and it looks like we've got 5 links left to go. Yeah, I've got really no complaints with these bracelets. The tolerances are pretty nice on them. There's no real sharp edges on them. They're not pulling hairs. The finishing, as you can see here, really nicely done. Brushing on the tops and polishing on the side, so it matches the case perfectly. The tolerances on the end links are super tight, so there's no gaps there. It's not wobbling around or anything like that. Nice quality spring bars as well, and like I mentioned, they are female pivot end links, so they do stop ever so short of the lug tips there. So the effective end link to end link is actually shorter than the lug to lug. You can see the end links following the case curvature there very nicely. Yeah, I mean, they just really just a solid design bracelet, and I think that's why I like this watch so much better than the fluted bezel one, because of this bracelet. It just feels more substantial and a little bit bigger. But yeah, I just like the bracelet. It's a nice bracelet. The clasp, same Baltany clasp. I'm not a huge fan of this clasp. There's nothing wrong with it. There's no real sharp edges on it. Maybe this bottom edge here is a little bit sharp, but the corners, they're not sharp, and it is a comfortable clasp. I feel like it balances the watch head nicely as well. 2 button pushers here, milled on the inside, nice tolerances there. It opens and closes just fine for me. It does have the Baltany branding on it, brushed on the top, brushed on the sides, and nice polished chamfers there. So 4 levels of micro adjust. There's no on the fly adjustment here or anything like that. Just simple micro adjust. Really not a bad clasp. It's just I'd like something a little bit better, I guess, especially for the 225. Other than that, though, I think the overall package with the bracelet is excellent, and this is how I'm going to be rocking this watch. Yeah, I do like it on some of the straps like I had on earlier, but the bracelet really makes this watch for me, in my opinion. So there you go, guys. That is the Baltany S4095. Really happy with this one. These watches are excellent. Baltany continues to impress and put out very nice vintage homages, and this is no different here. So I don't think there's too many companies making one. Maybe I think Alpha has one or had one, and that's been a long time since I've reviewed that watch, but this one is just much nicer than that watch, just straight up. So if you're in the market for a watch like this, highly recommend looking at this one. Again, links will be down in the video description. I think that's it for me. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.